Welcome back to the Survival and Basic Badass Podcast. Alright, so we're going to start our first official episode. We're going to talk about prepping, preparing, and why we do it.
Alright, I'm ready to go, man.
So, I know you've been looking into some concerns, and you have some theories of why people feel they need to be prepared.
I'm very concerned, yeah. I mean, how ready are we?
Alright, so let's talk about why we need to prepare.
All right.
So, tell me.
All right. What do you? Now we're talking about preparing in a lot of different ways. Obviously, you got to be ready for all situations to a certain extent. So I made up a list here that we can look over.
I like a list.
And we can. The first topic I wanted to talk about was fire sale. Do you know what a fire sale is?
Tell me about a fire sale.
We were talking about this. A friend of mine and I were talking about this. There's a everything is controlled with computers and internet now.
I've seen
if you can access the power grid and shut it down, that would cause all kinds of chaos. If you can turn people's lights off, panic starts.
Panic does start.
So I mean, are you ready for lights out and riots?
I don't like lights out. I got to tell you, I get a little worried about that. Now. So you're saying now? I actually just heard, and honestly, I think it was maybe on some other site or all these people's blogs and the different things on the internet. And So I read around, and they said that inside the code and the software of all our energy, Department of Energy computers, they have all this latent code from China, and they have all this, spyware and all this shit in there. And
didn't China just say that they have never hacked? And I thought that they just made an announcement saying that they have never hacked any other countries. No. I personally, I've always believed the Chinese, what the Chinese say.
Well, you go with what they say.
Yeah, I trust them.
They shoot down the spy plane. They want to go inside. They never touched anything.
No.
All right. If that's how you want to live your life, then we can go that way. So no problem. All right. So say they shut down the power grid. Seems to be a plausible threat. I keep hearing stories about out in California, people taking shots at the transformers and things like that.
Right.
Somebody digging up fiber cable and cutting the lines.
Right.
Are they just testing, looking to wait for the big day?
Yeah, how long
they can get away with?
How long would the power be out before? I lived in San Diego, and we had a power outage out there, and I was sitting up on a deck. It was an apartment complex with my neighbor.
Yeah.
And power's out the whole town, and he sees this guy walk past the back of the building, and immediately, I didn't think nothing of it, but immediately he jumps up and starts chasing this guy down, saying, "Can I help you with something? Do you need something?" And I was like, "Why is this guy being a jerk?" And he comes back and he goes, "You got to be careful around here. As soon as the lights go out, people start looking in windows. People start walking up and down and seeing what they can get for free. But I tell you what, man, nothing in my house is free.
No, you're not.
Nothing in my house is free. Come try and get it if you want."
All right. Well, I know. I was working. We had down here on the East Coast about 4 or 5 years ago. We had a big power outage, 3 or 4 days. The one where they had the whole chain reaction and power plant after power plant went down. So I'm about, I would say, an hour drive away at work in my work van. And I had to drive through probably 50 streetlights to get home. And it took about 9 hours to get home because there was a cop at every one trying to flag cars and whatever, and it's just a freaking nightmare. Now, country back roads, no problem, but no.
Yeah, you don't want to be in the city when something like that happens. That's for
all right.
Sure.
So we're willing to check that off as a legitimate concern.
Right.
Now, maybe it's not China. But if the power grid goes down, we know we've been lacking on infrastructure.
It's a good reason to be friends with your neighbors.
Infrastructure spending. So, all right, we'll check that off as legitimate concern.
Right. Another thing that we got to worry about is what the insurance companies call an act of God,
Tell me about this act of God.
Well, I mean, everybody has to deal with that where you live. You have specific threats, tornadoes out in the Midwest. You got earthquakes out in California. You got hurricanes down in the southeast. We even get hit by a hurricane here and there, blizzards.
All right. So
You
what
know?
kind of concerns do you have for that? So
What if you
say a
can't-
tornado rolls
Yeah,
through.
if you
what
can't
happens?
get to the grocery store for 4 days, what's your situation?
Yeah,
Are you in good shape?
Well, I am because I'm the guy who's got the prepping podcast. Turns out I might have thought about this.
Where are you gonna? Let me ask you this:
Well,
if,
you're average.
if you're worried about your water, where are you gonna get your water from?
Now back to the water.
In the house, there's a lot of places where you have water. The back of your toilet's a good spot, but I'd recommend if you feel an emergency coming on, fill up your bathtub. You know,
Fill up the bathtub.
Fill up the
Those are
bathtub.
common. Now, you know what? They sell that, I always see on Cheaper Than Dirt. They have one, I think it's called the Water Bob. It holds like 50 gallons, and it's just
And
a big plastic bag.
and you
You
lay it in
set
your
it
tub,
inside
right?
the tub, you fill it up. The structure of your tub holds
That's
it.
a
so
good
it
little.
works.
That'd be a
And then
good
that
thing
way
to
your
have.
water's clean. And
Right,
it's
that'd be
not,
a good thing to
got
have.
your naked butt
Right.
in your
Right,
drinking
I do
water.
have a lot
so
of butt hair in my
that's
tub.
and I think they sell. The last I looked, it was really cheap. I've seen it for like $30, whatever. They had it on there for like $10, and then $20 with a pump to pump it out. So that's,
Well, that's
kind
the
of
plus.
cool. Something
That's the
like
plus
that.
of buying
that's
something
easy.
before you need it.
That's you got to think
You know?
like that. But you know what? Nobody ever thinks about that. I always think I'm the clever guy. Is fill your washing machine.
Mm.
See, there's extra toilet water right there.
Right.
You can get an extra 15 flushes out of that, and that's pretty important.
Well,
in
you
this
know, yeah, you
survival
don't think
situation.
about that until you blow your bathroom up and you flush the toilet and it doesn't fill back up because nobody else can go to the bathroom ever again, and you already made the mistake of flushing it the
We're
first
shutting
time.
it down.
Nobody wants to have to tell their wife to go out in the backyard to poop. They don't mind peeing outside, but pooping outside is a
Pooping
different
outside,
story.
well, you know what? I don't want to poop outside. No, I keep trying to tell the wife I want to build an outhouse. I'm like, let me do this. 'cause-
Right.
And I keep trying to sell it as the double purpose where I say, look, let me build an outhouse down by the garden, and you can keep all the shovels, picks, your bucket of little garden tools in there.
in the outhouse.
And it's right there in the outhouse. And she's like, well, I want you to build me a little shed for all those things, but I don't
But
want
with
it to
the
be an
toilet
outhouse
outside,
with
with
no
the toilet seat and oh,
no,
okay.
she won't go for the toilet.
All right,
And
we'll
I'm
build
like,
a double-sized outhouse.
why? Why will you not?
If you're already
go along
building
with
it,
this?
if you're
I
already
don't
building a
know.
mini shed, you can just put the outhouse right on the back, dig a hole. You're
I
good.
don't know. So that's where we're at on that one.
All right.
All right. So drinking water, I have the generator. So what's cool is I can use all my tub, all everything, then turn on the generator, fill it all up a second time.
Right.
The other thing is usually around when hurricane season hits, which is around September, October. I'm lazy. I still have the kids' pool set up in the backyard.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta say, the last hurricane we had, when it was shower time, we're out in the freaking pool with the bar soap. And, whatever. It doesn't work if you have the nice in-ground pool. You don't want to contaminate the
Yeah.
water with the shampoo. But if you got the big freaking blow-up pool,
Just cut a hole
who
in the
cares?
side and then,
Whatever,
yeah,
let her
drains
go.
out.
So that works. So, all right, what else you got?
Well,
Or
the
you
other
want to expand on that?
I think we covered Act of Gods
All right,
regularly.
'cause,
Gotta have
you know.
food, gotta have water, the bare necessities. Keep your place
And
together.
those
If you
are
can
all
get a
real
generator
things that
going.
happen.
Right.
3 or 4 days,
Right.
it's
and
a
that
good
happens quite a bit.
possibility. All
Quite a
right, and it affects a lot of the country.
Now,
I
a
like
lot of that stuff can happen through. I got a couple on here that are a combination.
it. All right, tell me.
Nuclear war.
All right, nuclear
Uh,
war. Now, do you usually see that coming, or how does that?
Well,
Do you think one day just a nuke goes off in New York City, or what
you
happens?
don't see it. You don't see it coming. I don't think we're gonna have a all-out nuclear war with Russia and China and launching bombs and we're launching missiles.
All right, because I did.
Because
see
that'll give you a
war
30-minute
games-
warning.
War games. What
Yeah, it
did we
used to
have,
be
a
3
little bit?
hours.
3
Now we're down to
hours?
about
Oh.
30 minutes
All right.
beforehand. But I mean, where do you go? I have a decent basement. Right now, we're a mile underneath the earth.
All right,
in a
in the
secret
bunker.
lair.
Yeah. In the bunker.
I have a
Right.
pool table
A pool table
and a dartboard, and we're gonna get along just fine for 5 or 6 days here.
5 or 6
I've got
days.
boxes of MREs down here.
I like MREs. Now, tell me about this. So, the big concern, obviously, if you're in the immediate blast zone, doesn't matter. Lights out.
That's
it's
probably
over.
that's probably your best option.
That's where you want to be.
Because you don't want to be
Okay.
suffering starving to death for the next fucking 3 months.
Now let's talk about radiation. So what was cool is when we were in the Navy, you have freshwater washdown. and freshwater washdown, they use internal water, spray all over the ship, and that gets the
That'll
radioactive
clean the
dust and debris off.
radiation off.
And I wonder, is there something you could do for your house?
Well,
Do we have a fresh water for the house, or am I just crazy? I think I'm crazy, but I'm willing to
if you
put
have
that out there.
town or village or city water, municipal water, the pipes are 6 feet underground.
All
So
right,
if
but
you
how
beat
long-
your neighbors,
If you beat your neighbors.
you probably have.
No,
in the
you're not
pipes
talking
between-
about with a stick, though. You're saying you just have to get your water.
No, physically assault the baby, beat them to the water. It's a race. It's not
All
a
right.
not a stick fight.
Not a stick fight.
So
All right.
you've probably between your house and where the water's last above ground,
All
you
right.
probably have, I would say, anywhere from 100 to 10,000 gallons worth of water there.
All right. I like it.
But obviously, if you have 10,000 gallons between you and them, there's a lot of other people on that
And
line.
really, say, hypothetically, we'll imagine we're 90 miles from New York City,
Mhm.
and imagine that explosion in New York City. We have a little time.
Right.
Time before that radioactive cloud
The
is
cloud
showing
may
up.
never even come here, depending on the winds.
All right,
You
I
know?
like the winds. I like the way
And
that
listen,
you're talking.
I don't have any problem with
No.
New York City disappearing
No,
because
you're
it's
okay
kind
with
of a
that?
cesspool. Yeah,
It is a cesspool. So the
No
other
offense
thing,
if you live in New York City, but-
you want to close off any air getting into your house, any vents, anything like that, because what you're worried about is those dust particles getting inside your house, and then you want a barrier between you and them. So when we're down here in the bunker, no problem. Concrete walls, dirt, everything around us. Now, what's cool is radiation has a half-life of about 24 hours.
from
So,
the nuclear
Every day,
radiation.
right?
Yeah.
So every day, it's half as bad as it was the day before. So that's a good thing. Now, from what I can tell, that you're going to want potassium iodide tablets or something like that.
Now, what's the situation with that? You take
See, what you do is you take the iodine tablets. It fills up your thyroid, okay, with iodine. So your
I mean,
body
that-
isn't taking in. Well, no, listen, because it's not going to take in the radiation because it's already saturated. So it won't take in more. So, no, you don't want to be the guy out in it. But if whatever's leaking into your house,
But
you're
I
a
mean,
little
is,
bit
is
better
filling
off.
your thyroid with iodine? That doesn't sound very healthy.
It sounds better than radiation.
I've had a long-standing goal in my life to not have all my hair and teeth fall out.
Oh, you are opposed
So
to that.
yeah, so I guess I would go for the iodine capsules.
All right,
if
I'm
that,
just saying that's an option.
Mhm.
So it seems like you want to go about 7 days and then limited exposure at that. But really, you want to stay in your house for 7 days, and again, it all depends how close you are, how the winds
So
are.
we're back to
Is good rain coming and washing away stuff. All
Right.
this stuff comes into play. You want to do your research beforehand because I'm guessing the internet isn't working.
Yeah, you're not unless
But-
you have a radiation fallout book in your house. You had a lot, but I think we keep coming back to the same situation where you want to have
You want
preparation for a week.
Prepare. Turns out.
Yeah,
Okay.
at least a week minimum.
Planning ahead.
Yeah.
All right. I like it. Now, number, what are we at? 3, 4, whatever?
7, 12.
7, 4, 9. All right.
Yeah, all right. Well, the next one is are you prepared for a Captain Kirk style fight to the death?
Captain Kirk.
Yeah,
Tell me
he
about
pulled
Captain
that off.
Kirk.
He pulled it off in
fights
Star
to
Trek.
that?
Yeah,
All right.
all the time. They
Not a
played
big-
music.
Not a big Trekkie. I don't know.
Yeah, no, Captain Kirk was the man.
All right. Tell me.
You know, so you don't know. All right, is it going to be a stick fight? Is it going to be a knife fight? You don't want to bring a stick to a knife
See-
fight, and you don't want to bring a knife
So-
to a gunfight.
As we were discussing earlier, so maybe knowing some hand-to-hand combat skills might be something
Might be a
you
good
might
idea.
want to prepare for.
Might be a good idea.
Maybe carrying the knife, maybe having a concealed carry permit. I don't know.
Yeah, but then the
Maybe
government
that's what
knows
you're-
who it is that's carrying the gun.
Oh,
Listen, I know a lot of people act crazy that I'm worried about the government. I am. That is one of my things. I'm not
You
worried
are
about
worried.
my government now, but I'm worried about the government we're going to have in 20 years.
oh.
So you got to keep an eye on them now.
You know, I always hear you have like the NSA, you have Homeland Security.
Yeah.
For as far as I can tell, these organizations are there to protect the government from the people, rather than
Right.
the people from something else. I know they keep telling us something different, But it sure does seem like they're doing a lot of monitoring.
Well, I'm gonna skip real quick to the next topic,
All
which
right,
is
tell
terrorists.
me. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself
Terrorists,
here.
I feel I'm a lot more worried about driving to work on the thruway in the morning than from dying from a terrorist. And I'm not worried about dying on the thruway. I'm not concerned about terrorists in any way.
In any way.
No, they don't
So,
bomb. They don't bomb
if I recall,
towns.
If I
They
recall,
try and make a big
2000 when
splash.
they dropped the ball in the city, you were there, were you not?
I was.
You were there.
I was
So,
for the '99.
so they were afraid terrorism.
No, that was
the end of the
Y2K
world,
2000.
and you were good.
That was pre 9/11. That was Y2K. The lights were gonna go out. All right, the lights were gonna go out, and I was standing next to a couple of big guys that looked over at me, and they told me that they were gonna throw a brick through the Virgin Records window,
All right.
and wanted to know if I wanted some CDs.
Did you want some CDs?
I wasn't gonna tell them no because they're a lot bigger, and there are a lot more of them than there were of me. So I said sure.
And then slink out around the corner.
But the lights never did go out.
Oh, they
if you
didn't
ever
go
read
out?
up on your history, Y2K was
It didn't pan out?
made up. It was kind of like you know, the
Now, that was
Maya
the beginning of a lot of
2012.
people getting into
Yeah.
prepping, as far as I understand.
Now you know about the blood moon we have.
I did hear about the blood moon this weekend.
Apocalypse. Potentially.
Apocalypse, all right.
Several leaders were talking about apocalypse happening during the... We'll find out tonight. By the time you're listening to the podcast,
All right,
you'll
so
know it was bullshit.
In fact, if the podcast doesn't air, then
Then
we'll
we'll
know. We'll know that they should watch out for that.
Mhm.
Now, here, all right, so does that bring us to maybe the next topic? Tell me about the apocalypse.
The apocalypse.
Do you have anything
Well,
there, or
yeah, no,
maybe I need to fill you in?
No, I think we're good on the apocalypse. I'm gonna call it Apocalypse Palooza.
Tell me about Apocalypse
Palooza.
All right, let's hear it.
Apocalypse Palooza means that that's when the world goes to hell.
All right,
But I still have 6 cases of beer in the basement.
all right, 6 cases. Now that's 24.
That's 20. That's me.
All
No,
right.
6 cases is that's a lot.
So you are saying you're prepared for 7 days.
7 days.
All right, all
That's
right.
me.
All right.
That's,
But if you have
don't come
guests,
over to my
no,
house.
that's
Don't come
not
over to my
gonna work.
house without beer.
No, that's not going to work. All
Yeah.
right, I like it.
So Apocalypse Palooza, that means, when it goes down, are you going to survive or are you going to live?
Oh, no, I think we're going to get back to that. Are we going to live? Because maybe that means something there.
Mhm.
All right, but
Now, I
now,
know you were brewing beer. Tell me, maybe we need to get this
We can get some
ready over at
jars,
the house
but-
here and
I
you
mean,
know.
there is something to be said for fresh beer.
right.
Now, my only concern, we got to find a way to keep the yeast.
Okay.
Now, I did hear about back in the day, people used to just carry the yeast around with them. Yeah,
Really?
exactly. Yeah, oh yeah, that's how you keep it
You know what?
alive.
I think a lot of people don't realize how long humans have been drinking beer.
They have been.
It is a
drinking beer.
human tradition. It's an American tradition brought over from Ireland and Germany, and they've been doing it for centuries and millennia before that.
I like it.
All right. Next topic is after the Apocalypse Palooza, terrorists, and fight to the death. I'm worried about the Spanish Inquisition because
I think you might have
nobody
missed it. It
expects
might have
the
already
Spanish
happened,
Inquisition.
though. I don't know if you realize this.
Well, what I'm talking about though is the things you don't foresee. What
Tell
are we
me.
not talking about? Zombies,
Zombies, all right.
alien invasion.
Aliens, all right.
You don't know what's
Independence
there could be
Day, I
giant
did
earth
see it.
crabs that come up out of the earth. Yeah, the things you don't know about. I am joking around, but there are a lot of things that you
The unknown.
can't plan for. Right. The unknown unknowns, as Rumsfeld would say.
All right, I like it. And then I guess you have to worry about ISIS. You group that into terrorism.
That's in with the terrorists. I'm not worried about them. They're a bunch of boy lovers. I'm all right.
All right.
I'm not concerned about that. All right. The other thing I'm worried about is the Donald Trump China war we're gonna be in.
So tell me. So what you're saying is Donald Trump gets elected.
Gets elected,
Then
stops
automatic-
taking the BS from the China. China
Right.
has to, be the tough guy on the block, And next thing you know, we've got Chinese, the Chinese soldiers landing on the beach in Virginia, and we're, over choking to death in Beijing, hand-to-hand combat in buildings. But what are you going to do when the Chinese are running down your street? Are you going to hide in your basement, or are you going to take them out?
They are usually shorter than
what's
we are.
scarier? What's scarier to an invading army than an armed population?
I do like the armed citizenry.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do you see? Are they teaming up with Russia or
No. They,
No, it's
I,
just
I, don't-
China
I
on
think
their
I
own?
think that a lot of people misunderstand that, but the Chinese and the Russians hate each other.
Yeah,
Hate.
All
They
right.
have zero. The only thing worse than a capitalist society to Russia is a Chinese communist society ruling the world.
They did team up with Iran. I don't know if you remember, we had to send Rambo over there
Yeah,
to get.
yeah,
the
that was
Russians
Afghanistan.
out. Was it
That was
Afghanistan?
Afghanistan. Yeah.
All right.
Keep your Rambo facts straight.
You know,
That's
once-
John Rambo, man. Don't
Once he
mess
was
around with
taking
Rambo.
out the helicopters with the gunships. It
Well,
was
I
bad.
remember what was the last Rambo movie? I think it was just called Rambo.
Yes.
And
Burma.
he got the in Burma, and he got the knife. He
He
stabbed
was
the
making
guy,
the knife.
cut his hole. It was disgusting, and it was great. I mean, very bloody,
That was
very.
a classic.
very
I
good
gotta
stuff.
say that was the one.
But
of
he
the
had a
best.
line in it.
Tell
He
me.
said, "When war's in your blood, killing's as easy as breathing." And now I tried that out.
Yeah.
It doesn't work when I
No.
say it. It doesn't
No.
work. No. I just get laughs. I don't get like people giving me wide eye stares.
No,
of
you
fear.
drop that.
No.
They don't.
They just think
They
I'm
don't
being
just
funny.
drop. All right. I don't know. All right, and then I think is that economic collapse, or how far do we
Yeah.
go?
Well, no, we're on economic collapse now.
All right. Tell me about
Um,
economic, because that segues to China and my Russia
Right.
fears.
Right. I mean, what is the U.S. dollar based on?
I guess
It's
oil,
not based on gold. It's based on oil, isn't it?
right? Does seem to be the oil standard
Right.
there.
Right.
So-
And what's China's currency based on?
No, wait.
Copper.
I just have to note here that everybody's screaming at us through their iPod right now, going, "It's not based on anything. The
It's
Fed
not
just
based on
prints
anything.
money."
Right.
Yes, we
100%.
understand that. We get it.
100%.
You know,
But
you
we're
don't have
trying
to
to-
send us hate mail or
Right,
anything.
right.
We're just you know.
Oil, but oil is always bought in U.S. dollars because
That it is.
whoever has been planning this out 50 years ago thought wisely and thought ahead, and it works out for us. Doesn't work out so well for China.
It
and
helps
these other-
us control
It
the
doesn't help
price.
the EU. It doesn't help anybody but us. And the EU's trying to overtake it.
All right.
And the Chinese trying to overtake it. But really, when you get down to it, it's all based on numbers in the computer.
All right.
What's in your bank account? Well, you can check your ATM slip,
I like ATM slips.
and it'll print out a little number printed out,
I like the
saying how
number.
much you're worth.
Every time I just get a little happier. I'm like, oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. But what if you have 10,000 in your bank account and you go in there one day and it prints out a slip that says 0?
It's not gonna say oh yeah. It's gonna be oh no. So I'm a little worried now. Now you have me concerned. So what I'm hearing, and this is my thought with economic collapse, is I keep hearing China's talking about going back to the gold standard. I know they're trying to rally up some allies. Russia's talking about doing it with them. Japan, our supposed ally South Korea, our supposed ally Japan, and a bunch of South American countries are all getting on board with setting a common currency based on the gold standard. And they're running billboards in China that are talking about doing this, and actually talking about as soon as October here.
Yeah.
Maybe announcing that. And, these are things that are real. And again, this may not be what plays out. This might not be the thing. But like we're talking about, any one of these, the
Right.
unknown, anything, could be a real threat.
There are a
And
lot of
it's just
potentials
something-
out there.
What else you got? Anything else? Or is
Oh
that,
no, I've got a list for days.
You can't have a list for days.
I got a list for days.
All right, tell me.
Next one after economic collapse is repolarization.
Oh,
do you know what that means?
I actually do, but why
Uh,
don't you enlighten us?
Repolarization. Now, several times geologically, when you go back through the,
It has happened.
it has happened. It has happened.
The world didn't end.
North went south and south went north.
No, but tell me, did they have technology back when it happened last time?
Yes, possibly. Who knows? It could have collapsed. You don't even know.
But we have no records.
We have no record of it.
Okay.
I mean, were people around when it happened? Yes.
Were they using
Humans were alive.
compasses? Was somebody out there and going,
We'll never know.
crap, we're going the wrong
We'll never know.
way?
And our whole civilization could be lost.
All right,
Lost.
why don't you explain? Sorry, we're getting ahead
All
here.
right, all
Explain to them what's going on here.
But what happens is, the Earth is protected by a magnetic field.
There is a
If there was
magnetic
no
field.
magnetic field, the radiation from the sun would blast off our atmosphere.
Okay.
That's what happened to Russia, to Mars.
Okay,
Mars does not have a molten core.
All right.
The planet Earth does. The Martians all died. I mean, I don't know if there were Martians,
You're
but if
saying
there were,
Martians, if there were.
right?
And
And
did
I'm
they
not-
die? All right, all
I'm
right.
not saying-
I'll accept your premise.
It could have been
Go
economic
on.
collapse, but I'm guessing it was the repolarization.
All right, tell
When
me.
you have no atmosphere, well, it's not going to happen here. Though.
So now, what you're saying though, the axis, the polarization, it comes to a point where it stops dead center, and then it switches to the other
it
side
starts swinging the other direction.
and swing in the other direction.
So I mean, that's a huge, huge problem. It's not going to cause like massive earthquakes and tidal
Now-
waves.
If I bought a Tesla Motors car that runs on an electric motor based on a magnet,
Mm-hmm.
is this going to be a problem?
No,
Oh, okay.
No.
I'm not worried about it.
the truth is,
I don't even
the
think
truth is, this
gonna
whole
be a-
thing would just be mildly confusing.
So really, if I'm using a compass, I got a problem.
Right. If you got if you're going north, and it would just go south then.
All right.
Just switch it up.
However, I might be burned to death by radiation from the sun.
No, you're gonna be good on that.
Oh.
It's not gonna stop magnetism. It's just gonna switch. So you're good. You're good.
Why am I worried? All right, move on.
A lot of people are worried about it.
Skip to the next.
All right, I'm not.
Because it happens about every 100 years, doesn't
No,
it?
no,
Is
it's a
that what
lot
it
longer
was?
than that. It's many millennia.
All right. Carry on.
Meteor impacts.
Now that's definitely a possibility. I saw some things on the internet, I think 2 days ago or today.
Yeah,
Somehow a meteor was supposed to strike Houston and take us all out.
didn't happen.
Didn't happen?
No.
Okay.
Good news, everybody.
Rest easy.
But there is potential for large meteor impacts, and it would basically be the same sort of situation as nuclear war, nuclear winter.
But Bruce Willis can handle it if we have a problem. Armageddon, I think I saw
I'm
something.
counting more on Liv Tyler.
Liv Tyler.
Yes.
Yeah, she could stop that kind of thing.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Has there been any other good movies where they stopped meteors? No, there's
Oh,
not.
there's like 50 of them. Yeah,
Is there?
there's a lot
Okay.
of them. There's a lot of them. I'm
All
not going
right.
to run through the list because they're all bad.
All right,
except for
but
Armageddon.
so what
But
happens? I mean,
love
that's
it.
really what took out the dinosaurs, though, right?
Right.
That
And
doesn't
it's
sound
happened before,
good
it can
for
happen
us.
again.
That doesn't sound good
Right.
for us.
It was a lot more likely when the solar system had a lot more chaos going on.
Okay.
Now things are kind of evened out. There's
Alright.
there's a place where most of the meteors are at. That's on the other side of
I like
Venus.
that.
We're pretty safe, but there's a lot of strays still out there.
But they're saying just a small one can really have devastating.
Right. Devastating effects. And even if it doesn't wipe out civilization, you might have a hard time finding food for a few years.
No, they're saying like a cloud cover kind of,
Mhm.
dust storms kind of thing.
Right, things won't grow
Just
well.
no sunlight,
Right.
our atmosphere is all blocked out, and we're not
Mhm.
growing food like we could.
I'm
Alright.
not, I consider myself a survivor. I consider myself to be one of the people that's going to make it, and I will eat you so fast. If I get hungry, I will eat you. I'm a small guy, and so that means that I require less
Okay.
nutrients. I also
So
look,
I can have half your
I
food
look
is what we're
less
saying.
tasty to other people.
All
If
right.
you're going to kill a person, you might as well
It's
do
gonna
a
be
big one.
All right.
Somebody you're going to get some meat off of.
All right. So moving right along. What's
All
the
right.
next?
Cannibalism is always an option. I'm just putting it out
All
there.
right. I've seen some movies, and sometimes they go a little quicker than I think they should. But
All right, I'm thinking about now. Do you know about AIDS too?
tell me about AIDS too. No,
do you
I
know
do
about?
not.
You don't know about AIDS too. Nobody knows about AIDS too because it's made up.
Well,
When I was,
why are we talking
I'm
about made up
segueing,
things
I'm
here? You're segueing. All right.
When I was in the Navy, I was we were about to go on leave in someplace in Greece. I think it was Augusta Bay. And
Alright.
one of the officers was telling everybody before you go out, don't just go out having sex with anybody
No,
because
not
they have AIDS
everybody.
too now.
AIDS too.
Yeah, you get AIDS too and you die. That's it. There's no lingering. There's no medication. I asked him how you
they're-
transfer it on then if you just die. I just got a dirty look. But there is
It's not gonna
potential.
question authority.
There is potential for a lot of diseases that are dangerous now to go
There are
airborne,
other
to
diseases.
mutate.
Okay.
Well, I mean, you've got swine flu,
All right.
bird flu.
Now,
What's the one that just started in the Middle East? That's being spread airborne.
I don't know.
And there's just
Ebola.
Ebola. What if that went airborne? I don't think that's going to happen.
Well,
But
that didn't pan out in Houston.
but there's
or
smallpox.
No. All right.
There's a lot of
smallpox.
illnesses that are
What
still
is
out
it
there.
that's back? The measles, or what is the polio? Is it that they're bringing across the border? and
Yep.
Everybody's getting some kind of
And
super
we have
polio.
such
okay.
a porous border that any sort of disease can filter into this country at any
They
minute.
do. All right. Now,
How many airplanes are full
now,
of
now why
people
does that
coming in
concern
from
me,
dirty
the
countries?
prepper, though? Why am I worried about disease?
Well, what happens when a disease spreads like wildfire? People panic.
they do panic.
You're not going to be able to go to the grocery store and
Yeah.
get food because they're not
And
going
you
to
know what?
have
I
any
might
there.
not want to go to the grocery store if there's a bunch of people running around with the AIDS
that are
too.
coughing. Yeah, AIDS too. You did coughing AIDS too all over the canned vegetable.
They
Those
pick up
vegetables,
the apple,
the
they
fresh
put it back
vegetables,
down.
the fresh
I don't know.
vegetables aren't even covered.
Oh,
They're just coughing AIDS too all over it.
They don't even have this sneeze guard in
No,
front of that, right?
if you're going fresh vegetables, go to
Go to the
you know,
farm
Ruby
stand or
Tuesday.
Ruby Tuesday.
They've got the sneeze guard.
The sneeze guard. All right.
No, but in all
A little
reality,
safer.
you need to be conscientious of what you touch throughout the day,
All right.
and be
I like that.
conscientious
But what
when
you're
you touch
saying
your
is how
face.
people react is what
Right.
my concern
That's
is.
the panic. Yeah,
All right.
the panic, and there's a lot of things that can potentially cause panic. You have a blizzard coming in, and you go to pick up something from the gas station and it's empty because the panic took place and you're late to the show.
Oh.
So I hope you have something at your house to eat because you don't have anything from the store.
Couple cans cream corn. We're in.
Mhm.
All right.
And you don't want to live off canned corn either, do you?
No.
No.
All
No.
right.
Smoke some meats, man.
Smokes and meats. Now, chewing dip, does that hold up, or how? What's the lifeline on that? A can of dip? Is that gonna?
I don't know anything about that.
Okay.
I don't chew tobacco.
I gotta
I mean,
start looking into
all right,
this.
let's find out. Is there some sort of nutritional content?
I'm worried now.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
So what do you got?
Well,
Does
next
that
one
wrap
on
it
the
up?
list.
No. How many more? A lot.
We got
All right.
No, we got one more.
One more. All
One
right.
more, and then we're done.
I just don't want to put you on the spot. Then it's
Yeah.
awkward. All right.
No,
Let's do
one
it.
left. And this is a big concern with a lot of the leading scientists today. Is AI,
AI.
artificial intelligence.
All right. I saw that movie I, Robot.
Yes.
Yes.
Exactly
All right.
like that.
But
I mean,
not the other one we haven't seen.
well, I mean,
No.
if you can create a computer that's smarter than humans,
All right.
how long is it going to take for that computer to create a computer that's
No.
smarter than itself?
Do you know my hero Ray Kurzweil?
No.
Oh, well, I get an email every week about new technology from the Kurzweil Report or something it is, and
Okay.
this guy's all over. He used to be on the board at Google. He was on the board at Apple,
Uh-huh.
and shit hot thinker about the future, and he's all about AI and artificial intelligence.
Okay.
Well, it keeps, doubling faster and faster technology, and keeps saying, we're already, almost to the point where a computer can be as smart as a person and think and process thoughts. And actually went into a real big thing on how it all works, and I could kind of explain it to you. Maybe
Let's
I have
hear a
to
little
say
bit.
that. Yeah?
Yeah,
All right.
give me
Let me
the
tell you about
basics.
how it plays out. So basically, you can teach a computer how to learn,
Okay.
and it's kind of a neat idea.
Would the
What
computer
they
have to
do-
know how to learn before you taught it how to learn?
Well, that only sounds right. Well, no, you just because it's actually
You
more
program it
hardware.
to-
It's more hardware
All right.
so the way your brain works, turns out you have a bunch of synapses, a giant map. You imagine 1,000,000 of them, and it works off that same good behavior gets rewarded. So 2-year-old wants to learn something, goes and he does something and he does the wrong thing, or I don't know what age it is, but say what's 2 plus 2, and I think it's 3, You get, oh, that's the wrong answer. You don't get a reward. It's bad. So what happens is the synapses that told you to say 3, they don't get used again. You start always responding with 4. So, 4, oh, that's a good one. You reward it. Every time you see 2 plus 2, 4. What happens is the other synapses end up dying off. And they don't work anymore. So that's why, they say repetition, doing things 30 times.
Right.
And then it becomes habit. And that's the same thing. So if you realize, all right, if I do this over and over, good. So the same thing. When a computer tries different scenarios, if certain pathways lead to negative results that don't work out, then those get tossed out and sent to the trash, and it just keeps moving forward. And that's the basic principle of it. And that's how it learns. And so they're saying now that you're up to, getting closer and closer to human, knowledge, they can try the different synapses, plays out, learn faster and faster, and it can start to get ahead of us. And then they can start creating things on their own, and it can move on. So it's kind of crazy, but yeah, then at what point does it say, you know what? Gee, we're all worried about global warming and the humans are destroying the planet and we're going to get rid of the humans. Is that how you see it playing out?
Well, that's what I'm concerned about. Have you ever seen Terminator?
The Terminator. It does come back. I do remember the girl doing the pull-ups.
Right, she was super hot, dude. Super hot. Love a girl that can do pull-ups.
I gotta say, for me, Terminator starts at Terminator 2.
And ends at Terminator 2.
It kind of does.
Yeah.
Terminator 1, it's such a deep story. You get in there and you're like, whoa.
Yeah. And the special effects were not up to par at that point in film history.
All
They
right,
tried
but that's how you see.
Yeah, they're swinging out of the
playing
weight class on that.
All right. All right. So that's how you see it playing out.
Right. And, I'm not so concerned about it, but, think about how much of your life is dependent on communication systems, the technology we have. We're in the age of information.
All right.
Which is a great age to be in. Better than the Stone Age, better than the Bronze Age.
I do like information.
We got information. We're landing on moons and sending robots to Mars. And
robots to Mars.
If you're curious how to bake a souffle, you can find out in 3 minutes.
3 minutes.
But, try and go to the DMV when you don't have they don't have any sort of access to any information. You get pulled over for a cop. If you've never been arrested before, you might still get shot. You might be a white guy and get shot.
No.
And that's really scary because they don't know your background. You know. So you got to watch out for the cops too.
Now, so we run around now. We're all crazy. We're all paranoid now. Oh my goodness. We have all these things. The sky is falling. What do we do? So how much do you let this consume your life? Do you spend your whole life stockpiling? Or do we just pick up some extra groceries when we're at the store until we have a little bit of reserve?
Well, you know what I would say.
What's the line of sanity to insanity?
I would say, whatever you're doing, do a little bit more. Winter's coming.
A little bit more.
You don't know.
Keep the house warm. Keep the lights on.
Do you have a couple of gallons of water in your basement?
I do.
If not, you might want to pick them up. That's going to cost. You're going to be out $5, but you're going to have some water.
So the 25-pound bag of rice, that might be a good move.
That's a good move to do.
All right. Now I was told that's what people do, but in a survival situation, you don't want to be living on rice and beans. But you know what I got to tell you? I'd rather have rice and beans than not have anything.
Right.
So if you can go full on and have nice meals you can prepare for your family, by having a surplus,
right,
that's where you want to be.
Do it.
But
I'm not a huge fan of potted meat.
No.
But if I had no meat for a month,
you crack the Spam.
I'd be ready for some Spam.
Spam. Mm-hmm. All right. So with that, I think we're all ready to be prepared for the end of the world here.
All right.
We know why. Now we just gotta get into some more episodes and find out the how.
Yeah, let's figure out some ideas on cost-effective ways to protect our families, cost-effective ways to protect yourself, and get some good ideas and some thoughts moving on on heading in the right direction.
I like heading in the right direction. So keep listening. We'll find the right plan, and we will see you next time.